Morning, it's Carl at Ginger Ale Detailing, hope you're well. Just a quick video on cleaning cloths, microfiber cloths and cleaning mitts for washing your cars and bikes. Seems a really quick subject, but to be honest I've just made a couple of videos and started having a look at them, and they ran into sort of an hour long. So I'm just going to cut out all the gumph and try and not to bore you too much with the science as far as cleaning with a cloth's concerned. When it comes to cleaning a car, people talk about GSM quite often. GSM means grams per square metre. It's basically how heavy the pile of the cloth is, how heavy the cloth is over a square metre. Very simple. What that means, the heavier cloth, the chances are it will carry on more water, also be softer, depending on what sort of twist of microfiber it is, etc. Quite a big subject, but like I say, I won't bore you with all that. I use two types of mitts on the car bodywork. I use a twisted mitt. This is from Blitz Detailing, really good. It's a very tight knit, but what this is good for is wiping the mud off, wiping all the cack off the bodywork after you've rinsed it. You'll be surprised how much muck's still on there, even with a pre-wash. But then also, when you put it in your bucket to rinse it, loads and loads of muck comes out of it. What you find with certain other mitts is they pull the muck off lovely. When you rinse them, they hold the muck in, which is why we don't use sponges. Sponges do just that, they soak everything in. They don't like it letting anything out. They'll let the water out, but all in the microfibers, pores of the sponge, they keep all the dirt in. You rub it back in your paintwork, you get swirls, marling, God knows what. One of my pet hates. Can't stand sponges. The only times I'll use a sponge is if I use it on an interior. I use it for scrubbing plastics or perhaps scrubbing the material as well, which is a bit more denser sponge, a bit different to the bodywork sponges. On wheels, I use a microfiber glove. I find these really good. Just get my hand in there, put it right in all the nooks and crannies, really go at it. You ain't got to worry about it falling off your hand into the mud. These are a bit more coarse, so I wouldn't use these on bodywork to myself. I've also got the rough net on the back, so if you do need to do a bit of scrubbing where there's some encrusted brake dust or something, you can sort that out. You can also use that on your lower plastics of your car. If you've got a Ferrari or something, obviously I wouldn't advise using it, but for your run-of-the-mill cars with plastic, uncoloured, unpainted sills, unpainted bumpers, ideal for that. Everywhere else I use the twisted microfiber mitt. You can use a lamb's wool mitt, sorry, and I've got a few of them myself, but I find with them, if they're wet quite often, you soon start damaging them. You really need to look after them, and doing a lot of bikes, a lot of cars, I'd need like 15, 20 of those. They'd probably be wrecked in a couple of weeks because, to be honest, I use them, chuck them in a bucket because you won't use them on another car, which change my mitts. They'd be pretty wrecked, so sitting around wet all the time and then drying them out. So that's the only reason I don't use a lamb's wool mitt all the time. But if you're doing it at home, I'd definitely get one, look after it. But like I say, it's quite a big job to keep looking after it. So you've now washed your car, you're now going to want to dry it, or your bike. Obviously I always go to my blow dry first, so I'll give blow all the main water off. And then you may find there'll be still some water in places, so you want to be going over it with a large microfiber cloth. These are twisted knit, big old 1200 GSM drying cloths. With these you'll be just laying them out on the panel, pulling it towards you, turning it, doing the same again. You'll find one of these will dry a car no problem, or certainly bike easily. Also I've got this finer one from Maguire's, really nice, very soft. Just as good, just horses for courses really on the day. They're about 1200 GSM. With those, as soon as you get them home new, bung them in the washing machine, wash them out with some non-biological washing soap. Don't use the powder because the powder could ingrain into the fibres, and then when you use it, you run the risk of little micro scratches. Not worth it. Then air dry them. Don't put them in the tumble dryer. If you tumble dry them, you're shrinking the fibres down. Eventually they'll either start scratching or you won't be picking up any water. So you've done the drying of the car. You now want to start adding trim dressings, cleaners, etc. of the interior, the exterior. With the cleaning of the interior, I use a lot of these 200 GSM microfibers, very thin. You get all the little nooks and crannies. Use a trim tool with them, clean everything out, and then you'll be putting a trim dressing on. So then you'd want to buff that off, make it look factory. So I'd use a 300 GSM. Use a little bit thicker buffing cloth, ideal for that. You can also use these are about 350 GSM from Auto Smart, about £1 a pop, for taking waxes and polishes off. But if you've got nothing else, Not ideal, but if you buy a brand new pack, use them fresh, and then you can move them through your other products, put them into your interior cloths, your wheel cloths, whatever you want to use. So you're now thinking about compounding your car before the waxing, or just giving it a quick buff over. So you'd be buffing it with your DA by hand, whatever, and then cleaning the residue off. You want to be using a 300 GSM microfiber cloth, all purpose. Clean the muck off, happy days. I won't use the same cloth again. I'd then turn these on to a interior duties or wheel duties, whatever. I like to use fresh microfiber towels when it comes to the polishing and waxing. And then when it comes to the waxing, again apply it with the DA or by hand, and then I'll be using a 500 GSM buffing cloth. These are from Blitz Detailing, lovely soft cloth, real good for buffing. And after I've done the buffing with one of these on a car, I'll then knock it down the ladder again, and this would be for buffing something else, for cleaning something else. They make good wheel drying cloths afterwards. For the sake of £4, I wouldn't risk it on a car. If you've got a £150,000 car, or even a £5 grand motorbike, whatever, I don't want to introduce scratches at the final part of the job, so new cloth every time for me. But that's just how I do it. There is other things I use, also like applicators, such as these generic pads, applicator pads. You can use these for trim dressings, wheel dressings, polishes, waxes. Obviously don't cross-contaminate, use them for one thing, chuck them or put them in a carrier bag, keep them again if you want to do tie dressings or something. I tend to use these for tie dressings, little sponge applicator in a pot. That way you can load the pot, keep it in there, keep it wet, keep it primed, label them up for what it is, trim interior, whatever you want to use them for, wheels, and then off you go. That way you're never tipping any product away or tipping the product back into the bottle, which you don't want to be doing. You only ever clean materials with this, clean rubber, clean plastic, so you haven't got to worry about it contaminating. They're worth a go. Also, these little Auto Smart scrubbing sponges. Some people use them for putting polishes on and stuff. I don't. I tend to just use them as a run-of-the-mill cleaner. Interiors, scrubbing seats, stuff like that. Really good, cheap. The final thing, one of my favourite products, magic erasers. One with a pack like this is about £2.50. That's £2.50 you ever spend. Put your cleaning product on them, rub away, and everything goes away. I wouldn't necessarily use them on a lot of paintwork, although you can. Say you've got a little scuff on your bumper where you've took someone else's paint onto it in a car park. You can use this to remove the top layer of that paint. Really good at that. Also good at taking the burrs off plastic scratches, the little feathers. A little bit of product, rub over top. That's a really good tip. Or glass, brilliant for glass. Load them up with a little bit of glass compound, glass cleaner, and really go at the glass and scrub it. You're not going to do any harm. All you're going to do is get the muck off. So I think I'm getting them off eBay for about £2.50 for 10, so worth a look. So please subscribe. I've got some other stuff coming. I think we're going to have a bike detail video to do, so that should be quite good. So like I say, please subscribe, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe.